Hi everyone, this is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library, and welcome to another episode of Visions in Time. It is hard to imagine today the Rio Grande Valley being barren prairie land with only a few scattered trees all around. But that is what our ancestors and early pioneers struggled with on a daily basis. As you probably know, throughout our ancient history, people found the means to bring an important resource, water, to their farming communities. In the Rio Grande Valley, the building of water canals made it possible to cultivate the land and prosper through farming. The construction of the Hidalgo Pumphouse in Hidalgo, Texas, made it possible for area farmers to transform their once prairie land to rich, fruitful farming fields. So come along with me as we explore and learn more about the Hidalgo Pumphouse. The Hidalgo Pumphouse Museum and World Birding Center. This is the front entrance to the Hidalgo Pumphouse. As you'll notice on the right, it has a beautiful brick facade. It also has a Texas historical marker. A closer look at the historical marker portions read, in 1909, a steam pump was built here to channel Rio Grande water to about 40,000 acres of land. The pump plant continued its operation until 1983, when an all-electric plant opened downstream. Before we take a look inside the pump house, let's learn a little bit about its history. With Google Maps, we can get a bird's eye view of the town of Hidalgo. The Hidalgo Pump House is in the Hidalgo Viejo Historic District. On the bottom of the screen, you will see where the pump house is located. Toward the top and center, we have the 1886 Hidalgo County Courthouse and Jail, and just across the side street from the courthouse is the 1889 Old Post Office. As you can see, this being the center of town, everything is in close proximity. And as a side note, as I was researching, I found an older map of the town of Hidalgo that directly across the street from the county courthouse, this area was called the Public Square. So I can imagine this is a place where baseball games were played, where there were countless community events. In a November 1990 news article in the Monitor titled "Historians Seek to Preserve Hidalgo Pumps," we learned that retired veterinarian Dr. Robert Norton spearheaded the effort to preserve the Hidalgo pumps. He also worked with local businessman Spurgeon Brown in this effort. Dr. Norton states two reasons for preserving the pumps. The first is the impact of irrigation on an arid but otherwise productive land, and the other being the existence of pumping equipment unique to the period of use. Looking at the article photos, you can see the growth of the pump house from a one stack that you see on the left to a double stack pump house on the right within a matter of 5 years. You can also see from the photo on the left the lack of vegetation in 1910. You see brush and you see a few trees. For this effort of turning the Hidalgo pumps into an historic site, it took a cooperative effort between the Irrigation District, the City of Hidalgo, the Hidalgo County Historical Commission, and the Texas Historical Commission. And it was a success. This interesting article that I found in the Brownsville Herald that was printed in January of 1917. It's titled The Magic Valley. This article came about when there was a visit from a board of engineers to the South Texas area. They saw the monster, gigantic pumping plant at Hidalgo, only one of the several immense works of its kind along the river. They rode in automobiles along and across miles and miles of the elaborate and wonderfully built canal systems. Their eyes feasted upon the view of miles and miles of grapefruit and other citrus fruit groves, miles of cabbage patches, sugar cane, and many other products from which the farmers of the valley are accumulating wealth. There is no danger of anyone who has made a trip through the agriculture sections of Cameron and Hidalgo counties ever criticizing the adoption of the name Magic Valley. As you can see in this photo, the Hidalgo Pumphouse does look gigantic, doesn't it? It was in continuous operation 7 days a week. It is easy to imagine it being loud with the rushing water from the Rio Grande River, hot by the steam it produced, and busy with activity as men shouted instructions over the noise. So let's go inside and take a brief look at some of the interior of the pump house. There was a systematic process in getting the needed water to the fields. First, there needed to be an order, either taken by phone or a written request that was taken at the gray desk that you see on the right, known as the order desk. But before the telephone, all orders were submitted by horseback. Here you can see some of the pumps used during the pump house operation. Prior to the concrete walkway, it was probably made out of wood. The original scale that you see on the right still remains today. Notice the wheels on the scale, and it still works. On the opposite side of the pump house entrance is the visitor center and museum. Prior to the creation of the visitor center, that area housed one of the pump house boilers. So be sure to stop by the visitor center to learn more about the history of the pump house and look at the photo collection on the walls. As a world birding center, the pump house has something for all ages to enjoy, inside and out. So let's step outside. After the hurricane flooded the area around 1933, the river shifted further south, away from the pump house. A resolution needed to be found immediately. So a channel was dug, as you can see on the left, to keep the pump house working. The channel survives today as a reminder of the history of the pump house. As you can see on the lower right, you can still see the intake pipes leading from the channel to the pump house. And on the top right, you can actually visit that area and get a closer look at the channel. The channel is now a protected area. Outside is the old swimming hole that is situated near the pump house. Can you imagine youngsters jumping in, splashing water, laughing, talking, enjoying the coolness of the pool, just a short distance away from the pump house? I'm sure that the youngsters could hear the pump house at work. In modern times, an amphitheater was created for outside enjoyment and movie nights. I hope you enjoyed this brief history of the Hidalgo Pumphouse Museum and World Birding Center. This is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library. Thank you for watching Visions in Time. Don't forget to leave a comment below and to like us on Facebook. So see you next time on Visions in Time.